My father threw my 8-year-old daughter into a thunderstorm. She sat in a storm drain for 3 hours, rain hitting her face, wind tearing through her jacket, thunder shaking the concrete under her body. She weighed 52 pounds. He did it because of a lie told by her 10-year-old cousin, a lie my parents never questioned, not for 1 second. What my father said when he found me sitting by her hospital bed changed everything. But what none of them knew was that I had already made the call that would end their world as they knew it. My name is Darcy Ingram. I was 32 years old when this happened. I am a first lieutenant in the United States Army Logistics Commission out of Fort Campbell, Kentucky. My father, Ray Ingram, had a very clear picture of what his daughter should be: married young, close to home, grateful for everything he provided and quiet about everything he didn't. My sister Jenna fit that picture perfectly. She married Derek Walsh at 21, had Tyler at 22, moved 10 minutes from my parents. My father smiled at her wedding like he'd won the lottery. I chose ROTC, then Officer Candidate School, then a logistics commission out of Fort Campbell. Every step I took further from home, my father's silence got louder. By 25, I was a first lieutenant managing supply chains for a brigade. I was also pregnant. The father, a civilian contractor named Marcus, left when I was 6 months along. No forwarding address, no phone call. Just an empty apartment and a note that said I'm not ready. I had Lily alone, raised her on base housing and meal plans and every scrap of leave I could scrape together. My mother called once a week, my father once a month. The question was always the same. When are you coming home, Darcy? I never answered that question the way they wanted, but I always answered Lily's. Where are we going next, Mommy? Wherever the Army sends us, baby, and we'll make it work. When I got orders for a 9-month rotation in Kuwait, I had 72 hours to finalize my family care plan. Every military parent knows that form. You designate a caregiver. You sign custody paperwork. You leave your child with someone you trust and fly halfway around the world hoping you made the right choice. My parents volunteered before I asked. My mother called the morning after I told her about the deployment. She's our granddaughter, of course we'll take her. I felt relieved. Lily would be in a house with a yard, a school district rated 8 out of 10, and 2 grandparents who had raised 2 children of their own. I signed the family care plan designating Ray and Connie Ingram as Lily's temporary legal guardians. I set up an automatic transfer of $1,200 a month into their account. Child care, groceries, school supplies. My father never mentioned the money, not once. What I didn't know, what I couldn't see from 9,000 miles away, was that Jenna's son Tyler already practically lived at my parents' house. He had a bedroom there, a toothbrush, a drawer full of clothes, a room with baseball posters and a nightlight shaped like a rocket. When Lily arrived with her suitcase, my mother put her in the guest room, the one with the pull-out couch and no curtains. I didn't know that then. Lily didn't tell me, and when I asked my mother if Lily was settled, she said she's adjusting just fine. That was the first lie. The night before I deployed, I sat on Lily's bed and pulled a small card from my pocket. Military dependent, her photo on the front, my name printed underneath. Emergency contact number on the back. I clipped it to the inside pocket of her backpack. What's that for? She asked. This tells anyone who finds you that you belong to me. No matter where I am, no matter how far, you show someone this card and they will call your mum. She ran her fingers over the plastic. Even if you're in another country, even then. She was quiet for a moment. Then she said something that should have stopped me cold. What if Grandpa gets mad again? I sat down the bottle I was packing. What do you mean again? She picked at the edge of her blanket. Nothing, he just gets loud sometimes. Loud how? Like when Tyler breaks something and Grandpa thinks I did it. He yells. But then Grandma says it's fine. I knelt in front of her. Has Grandpa ever scared you? An 8-year-old shrug. The kind that means yes but doesn't have the vocabulary for it yet. I told myself I'd watch more carefully from overseas. I told myself my father was strict, not dangerous. I was wrong about one of those things. By the time I figured out which one, my daughter was in a storm drain 4 blocks from my parents' house. Kuwait was hot, flat, and 18 hours ahead of Tennessee. 12 to 14-hour days managing supply routes for 3 forward operating bases. I scheduled video calls for Lily's lunch break, but the calls never happened at school. My mother insisted on hosting them from the kitchen. Better Wi-Fi, she said, but my mother was always in the frame, hovering behind Lily, adjusting the camera angle. How's school, baby? Fine. What did you do today? Stuff. She used to talk for 20 minutes straight about the caterpillar she found, the girl in her class who could burp the alphabet, the bird that landed on the playground fence. Now she gave me single-word answers and looked past the camera like she was waiting for permission to leave. Mom, can I go? Grandma says lunch is ready. I started checking Lily's school portal every morning before my shift. Tyler Walsh picked up by Ray Ingram at 3:15 every day, car pickup lane like clockwork. Lily Ingram enrolled in after-school program, pickup at 5:30, Tyler left at 3:15. Lily waited 2 more hours every single day. My father hadn't even put his name on her emergency contact file. Tyler's birthday in October. I saw the photos on Jenna's social media. 15 kids, bounce house. Cake shaped like a baseball diamond. My parents grinning behind a table of presents they'd paid for. Lily's birthday in January, my mother texted me one photo. Lily at the kitchen table. A store-bought cake, no candles. No friends, just my mother standing behind her and a paper plate with a slice of yellow cake. I called my mother that night. Why was Lily's birthday so different from Tyler's? We already spent a lot this month, Darcy. And Lily didn't want a big party, she's 8. What 8-year-old doesn't want a party? Tyler lives here full-time. Lily is temporary. She used that word like it was a fact, not a knife, but it cut just the same. And I knew right then in my parents' house my daughter was a guest. Tyler was the grandchild. The care package arrived on a Tuesday, brown cardboard box, my mother's handwriting on the label. Inside gummy bears, a photo from a school event, and a folded piece of construction paper. I opened the drawing. Stick figures. Left side of the page, a tall man, a woman with curly hair, a smaller woman holding hands with a boy. All grouped together, smiling, bright crayon colors. Right side, one figure, small, no smile, brown hair, standing alone, no one touching her. At the bottom, in careful child handwriting, my family. My daughter drew herself outside her own family. I called home immediately. My father answered. I got a drawing from her. She drew everyone else holding hands. She drew herself standing alone. Kids draw nonsense, Darcy. Don't read into everything. She drew herself by herself, Dad. She's fine. Maybe if you were here instead of playing soldier across the ocean, your daughter wouldn't draw sad pictures. He hung up. I pulled out my green notebook, wrote the date, wrote what he said, wrote what the drawing showed. Then I folded the drawing and slipped it into the breast pocket of my uniform. It stayed there for 4 months, against my chest. Against my heart. The school counselor called me on a Saturday. Mrs. Patterson, 6 months of weekly sessions with Lily. She told me Lily had become increasingly withdrawn since January, no longer played at recess. Sat alone in the cafeteria and drew. Flinched when adults raised their voices near her. Then she told me something that made me grip the railing so hard my knuckles turned white. She told me her grandfather says she's not a real Ingram. I closed my eyes. He had said those exact words to me the day I told him I was enlisting. Standing in the kitchen, he had said real Ingrams stay with their family. You're walking out on everything. Now he was saying it to my daughter. 8 years old, 52 pounds, and he was telling her she didn't belong. I called Captain Alina Rivera that same night, JAG officer at Fort Campbell, former colleague, trusted friend, document everything, she said. Screenshots, school reports, dates. If this goes legal, you want a paper trail that starts before the incident, not after. There hasn't been an incident, then you're ahead of the curve, stay there. I spent the next 2 months building a file. Every call logged, every drawing scanned, every text saved. I typed a hardship reassignment request, 2 pages, single-spaced. My commander, Colonel Barrett, read it the next day. Ingram, is your daughter safe? I don't know, sir. And that's the problem. He signed the request that afternoon. 3 weeks before my reassignment came through, Tyler told the lie that changed everything. It wasn't his first. The first was a broken television remote. Tyler threw it, pointed at Lily when Ray stormed in. She dropped it. Lily said she didn't. Ray sent her to her room. The second was a tray of snickerdoodles Tyler gave his friend, then blamed on Lily. My mother never asked Lily her side. She just said you need to learn some self-control. The third put Lily alone at lunch for a week over a claim no witnesses could confirm. Each time the same pattern. Tyler spoke. Adults believed. Lily denied, adults dismissed. My mother told Lily, don't be a tattletale. Nobody likes a child who makes up stories. Lily stopped telling anyone anything. She drew instead. The necklace belonged to my grandmother and her mother before that. 3 generations of Ingram women had worn it at their weddings, christenings, milestone birthdays. My mother kept it in a small velvet box on her dresser. One Sunday in February, she brought it to the table and showed it to Tyler. Let him hold it. Smiled like she was watching a sacred tradition unfold. Lily asked quietly, can I hold it too? My mother didn't look at her. Not right now, sweetheart, you might drop it. Tyler smirked. Lily put her hands in her lap. Here is what happened on the night of the storm. I learned the details later from Tyler's interview, from Mrs. Calloway next door, from my mother's own tearful confession. Around 8:30, my mother went to get the necklace for the next morning's church outfit. The velvet box was empty. She searched the bedroom, the bathroom, the hallway. Then my father started pulling open drawers. Tyler watched the panic build for about 90 seconds. Then he walked to my father. Grandpa, I saw Lily put something in her backpack after school. She was being sneaky about it. My father didn't ask a single follow-up question. He walked straight to the guest room, grabbed Lily's backpack, and unzipped it. The pearl necklace was inside. Tyler had placed it there that afternoon while Lily was upstairs doing homework. He had taken it from the velvet box, walked it to the guest room, and slipped it into the front pocket of her bag. Then he had zipped it closed and gone back to the television. He was 10 years old. He knew exactly what would happen. My father's face turned a shade of red I had only seen once before, the day I told him I was joining the army. Lily, get down here now. She came down the stairs in her pajamas, cotton pants with little stars, a long-sleeve shirt that said future scientist, bare feet on the hardwood, hands at her sides. She had no idea what was coming. My father held up the pearl necklace in one hand and her backpack in the other. You stole this from your grandmother's dresser. I didn't, Grandpa, I didn't take it. It was in your bag. I don't know how it got there. He threw the backpack on the floor. 2 years I've put up with this. 2 years of your attitude, you're lying, you're sneaking around. My mother stood behind him, clutching the necklace against her chest. She said nothing, didn't defend Lily, didn't ask questions. Jenna arrived 10 minutes later. My parents had called her. She walked in, saw Lily on the stairs, and crossed her arms. This is what happens when a child doesn't have structure. Tyler stood in the living room doorway picking at his fingernails and watched. A nervous habit. The kind a 10-year-old develops when the lie he told is growing bigger than he planned. My father leaned over Lily. Tyler doesn't lie. It came out of his mouth the way scripture comes out of a preacher. Absolute, final, unquestionable. My mother touched his arm. Ray, maybe we should. He pulled his arm away. No, I'm done. Jenna from behind him. Dad's right. This has gone on too far. My father reached down and shoved the backpack into Lily's lap. You want to act like you don't belong here? Fine. Lily looked at him, then at my mother. Connie's eyes were wet, but her mouth was a flat line. She didn't move, didn't reach for Lily, didn't step between them. Lily looked at Jenna. Jenna uncrossed her arms long enough to check her phone. My daughter looked at every adult in that hallway. Not one of them looked back. My father walked to the front door. The sound of rain filled the house the second he turned the handle. Wind pushed the door open wider than he meant it to. He didn't close it. He just pointed. Get out. I don't need a lying granddaughter. Those words left his mouth at 8:53 on a Thursday evening in March. The rain was falling so hard it bounced off the porch steps. The wind had already knocked a branch off the maple tree in the front yard. The temperature had dropped 14 degrees in 2 hours. Lily stood up from the stairs. She didn't argue. She didn't scream. She picked up her backpack, slipped her arms through the straps, and walked to the door. My father slammed it behind her. She was wearing pajamas, cotton pants with little stars. No shoes, no jacket, no phone. Next door, Mrs. Calloway was rinsing her dinner plate when she heard the slam. She looked through her kitchen window and saw a small figure walking down the pavement. In the rain, in pajamas. Bare feet slapping wet concrete. She picked up her phone. 911, there's a child walking alone outside in this storm. She just came out of the house next door. Inside my parents' house, my mother sat at the kitchen table. Held the pearl necklace in both hands. Stared at it. Ray, maybe we should let her back in. She'll catch a cold. She'll come back when she's ready to apologize. Jenna put on her coat. I need to get home before the roads get bad. Tyler, let's go. Tyler didn't move right away. He stood in the doorway looking at the closed front door for about 5 seconds. Then he followed his mother to the garage. Nobody went after Lily. Nobody checked the porch. Nobody looked out the window. My daughter walked 4 blocks in a thunderstorm before she found a storm drain large enough to crawl into. She sat inside it, hugging her knees, her backpack over her head. Until the blue and red lights found her. The officer who found her was named Gutierrez. He drove the route 3 times before his flashlight caught the glint of a backpack reflector inside a concrete drainage opening. Lily was shaking so hard she couldn't speak, feet bleeding from bare asphalt, lips blue. He wrapped her in a thermal blanket from his trunk and radioed for an ambulance. Mild hypothermia. Scrapes on both knees and the soles of both feet. Dehydrated, heart rate elevated, not critical, but not okay. At the hospital, a nurse checked Lily's backpack for identification. Inside the front pocket, tucked into the same slot where Tyler had planted the pearl necklace, she found a small plastic card. Military Dependent ID, Lily Ingram. Emergency contact, First Lieutenant Darcy Ingram. The nurse dialed the number at 9:37. I was sitting on my hotel bed 12 minutes away. I had landed stateside 2 days earlier and hadn't told my parents, staring at the ceiling, counting the hours until Rivera could file the revocation paperwork. I was in my car before the nurse finished explaining. Room 4, Lily in a hospital bed, IV drip in her left arm, monitors beeping, hair still damp, eyes closed. I sat down beside her, took her hand. I'm here. I'm not leaving. Her eyes opened. Mommy, yeah, baby, I'm right here. In her other hand, crumpled against her palm, was a drawing, 2 stick figures, one small, one in green, holding hands. 20 minutes later, the hospital social worker knocked on the open door. I'm required by law to file a report with Child Protective Services. An 8-year-old was admitted tonight with exposure injuries and no legal guardian present at the time of incident. I understand. Who was responsible for Lily this evening? My parents, Ray and Connie Ingram. They're her designated caregivers under my military family care plan. Was she sent out of the house? I believe so. The neighbor who called 911 Phillies Calloway lives next door. She can confirm what she saw. Is there anything else you want me to know? My daughter has been living with my parents for just over a year. I have documentation of ongoing concerns. School counselor reports, behavioral observations, communication logs. I can provide all of it. Please do. After she left, I called Rivera. It's happening. CPS is filing tonight. I'm driving to Campbell now. I'll be there by morning. Rivera, I didn't make a single accusation. I just answered her questions. The system moved on its own. Exactly. 1 hour and 12 minutes after I arrived, the door to room 4 opened again. My father walked in. He saw Lily first. Small body in a hospital bed, IV tube in her arm, monitors blinking green, her pajamas replaced with a hospital gown 2 sizes too big. The color left his face like someone pulled a plug. Then he turned and saw me, sitting in the chair beside the bed, still wearing my army jacket, my name stitched over the left pocket. His hands started shaking. You can't be here. How did you get here? You're deployed. I came back early. I've been here an hour, Dad. You're supposed to be overseas. My mother came in behind him. She saw Lily and her hand flew to her mouth. Then she saw me and started crying. If you'd been here, none of this would have happened. I looked at her, held her gaze. I trusted you to be here for her, Mum. My father tried to regain footing. The girl stole your mother's necklace. She didn't. Tyler is 10 years old. And we're not having this conversation in a hospital room. A nurse appeared in the doorway. I need to ask the visitors to keep their voices down, please. I stood up, not fast, not aggressive, just stood. Dad, Mum, I think you should leave. CPS will be contacting you tomorrow. CPS? My father's face shifted from pale to red in 2 seconds. You called CPS on your own parents? The hospital did. Because that's what happens when an 8-year-old ends up in the emergency room during a thunderstorm with no guardian. He opened his mouth. I waited. He closed it. They left without another word. My mother's crying echoed down the hallway long after the lift doors closed. Lily woke around 1 in the morning. She looked at me like she wasn't sure I was real. Am I in trouble? No, baby. You are never in trouble for telling the truth. She was quiet for a while. Then, in a voice so small it barely reached the pillow, Tyler put the necklace in my bag. I saw him do it. He went into the guest room after school, but I was on the stairs. I saw, why didn't you tell Grandpa? Because Grandpa wouldn't listen. He never listens when it's about Tyler. I smoothed her hair back from her forehead, still damp at the roots. I know, and I'm going to make sure the right people listen this time. She closed her eyes. Her breathing slowed. Her grip on my hand loosened but didn't let go. I sat in the dark for a long time after that. Then I opened my phone and typed an email to Rivera. Subject line: Evidence Package CPS Investigation Ingram, School Counselor Session Notes. Scanned drawings, Mrs. Calloway's number, hospital intake form. Family care plan documentation, every screenshot, every log entry, every line from the green notebook. I had spent 2 years trusting the wrong people with my daughter. That night, sitting in that hospital chair, I started trusting the right ones. CPS investigator M.S. Torres arrived at my parents' house on Monday morning at 9:15. 14 years on the job, leather portfolio thick with forms. She interviewed Ray and Connie separately. My father's version, the girl was acting out. I told her to sit on the porch and think about what she'd done. She ran off on her own. My mother's version, Ray was upset. She went outside for some air. I thought she'd come right back in. Torres wrote both down, then noted the discrepancy. He said he told her to sit on the porch. She said Lily went outside for air. One was in order, the other was a choice. They couldn't both be true. Next, Mrs. Calloway at her kitchen table. Phyllis had been writing things down since November. Times, dates, what she heard through the shared wall between the houses. He opened the front door, she said. He pushed the child's backpack at her. She was in her pajamas, no shoes. He told her to get out. Those were his exact words. He said, "Get out, I don't need a lying granddaughter." Then he slammed the door. I called 911 within 30 seconds. Torres wrote the quote in block letters, underlined it. That sentence, cold and short and final, went into the official CPS file, not as hearsay, not as allegation. As a direct witness statement from a 70-year-old woman with no motive to lie and a clear view from her kitchen window. My father had spent 61 years controlling the narrative inside his house. He didn't know the walls were thinner than he thought. Tyler's interview was conducted by Dr. Kessler, a forensic child interview specialist. Jenna was present but instructed not to coach. Tyler, can you tell me what happened with the necklace? I saw Lily put it in her backpack. Where were you when you saw her? In the kitchen. I mean the hallway, the living room, 3 locations in 30 seconds. Kessler didn't point it out. She just wrote, Tyler, sometimes kids feel pressure to say things because they're scared or because someone told them to. It's okay to tell the truth here. Nothing bad will happen to you. Tyler looked at his mother. Jenna's face was stone. Then he looked at the stress ball in his hand. I put it in her bag. Jenna's voice cut in immediately. He's confused. He doesn't know what he's saying. Ma'am, please let Tyler finish. Tyler's voice dropped to a whisper. Mom told me Lily needs to learn her place. She said if Lily got in trouble, Grandpa would send her away and things would go back to normal. Jenna stood up. Tyler didn't look at her. The room went very quiet. Torres conducted Jenna's interview in a separate room. By then she had Tyler's statement, Mrs. Calloway's account, and 6 months of school counselor documentation. Mrs. Walsh, did you instruct your son to place the necklace in Lily's backpack? That's ridiculous. Tyler makes things up. Your son stated that you told him Lily needs to learn her place. He also stated you said if Lily got in trouble, your father would send her away. He's a child. You're going to believe a child over me? Torres set her pen down and looked at Jenna without blinking. Ma'am, I believed a child's lie when it put an 8-year-old in the hospital. So yes, I take children's statements seriously. Jenna pushed her chair back. I'm calling my lawyer. That's your right. This investigation will proceed regardless. Torres placed the pearl necklace on the table in a clear evidence bag. This necklace was planted in an 8-year-old girl's bag by a 10-year-old boy who was told to do so by his mother. The result was a child expelled from her home during a severe thunderstorm without shoes, without a jacket, without supervision. Rivera's paralegal, a young sergeant named Kim, had been reading her a book about a dog who lost his bone. Lily looked up when she heard my footsteps. She slid off the chair and ran to me. Her arms went around my waist. She pressed her face into my jacket. Are we going home? Yes, baby, our home, our home. I took her hand. Her backpack hung from one shoulder. I could see the edge of the military-dependent ID card still clipped to the inside pocket. The same card I'd put there the night before I deployed. I had put that card on her because I trusted my parents to keep her safe. But when the system failed and the people failed and the storm came, that small piece of plastic with my name on it was what brought her back to me. Not my parents, not my sister, a laminated card, and a nurse who dialed the number on the back. We walked out into the car park. The sun was out, first clear day in a week. I didn't look back 3 months later. Lily and I were living on base at Fort Campbell. Small apartment, 2 bedrooms. Her room had lavender curtains she picked out herself and a desk where she drew every evening after dinner. Family court had formalized the custody order in April. Sole physical and legal custody to me. My parents supervised visitation, 2 hours every other Saturday at a monitored facility. A social worker present for every visit. The first visit was in May. My father brought Lily a coloring book, horses and flowers. He set it on the table between them and sat down in a plastic chair. He didn't know what to say. Lily didn't either. They colored together for 45 minutes. My father asked her about school. She told him about her art class. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't mention Tyler or Jenna or the necklace or the storm. When the 2 hours ended, he stood and said, "I'll see you in 2 weeks, Lily." She said, "Okay, Grandpa." He walked out to the car park and sat in his truck for 10 minutes before driving away. I know because the social worker told me. Jenna had not contacted me since the CPS meeting. Tyler sent Lily a handwritten note in June. "I'm sorry I lied about the necklace. I hope you're not mad." Lily asked me if she had to write back. "It's your choice," I said. She wrote back 3 days later, "It's okay. I hope you're doing better." My mother called every Sunday evening. Short conversations. "How is Lily?" "She's doing well, Mum." "Can I send her something?" "You can send it to our address." My father's hands still shook when he saw Lily at the visitation center. I didn't know if it was guilt or fear or something he didn't have a name for yet. But he sat in that room every other Saturday, and he never raised his voice. He never said lying granddaughter again, not once. I used to think protecting my daughter meant making sure she had a roof and food and people around her. I was wrong. Protecting her meant making sure the people around her deserved to be there. And when they didn't, it meant having the courage to say enough. Not with a scream, not with revenge. With the truth, a stack of paperwork, and a mother who finally came home. That small piece of plastic, her military ID card, was what brought her back to me. I had put it there because I thought it was for strangers, for emergencies, for the worst-case scenario. I never thought the person she'd need to be found from was her own grandfather. One storm, one lie, 3 hours in a storm drain, and a card with her mother's name on it that never left her pocket. If this reminded you that protecting your child is never overreacting, share this with someone who needs to hear it. Drop a comment, subscribe, and remember, when the system fails and the people fail and the storm comes, you be the person they find.